Anyways, Princess Sarissa here. When we last left off, we were just stopped outside the Wind Shrine. I saved the game there. I changed the background color just to make it distinguish it a little bit easier. But we last left off right outside the Wind Shrine. Well, now we're going to venture into the Wind Shrine. When we first came into the Wind Shrine, we saw there's some people over there to the left. So we're going to go talk with them, and they're going to tell us basically what's been occurring here. These people are scholars from Castle Tycoon. Castle Tycoon is where Princess Lena and her father, King Tycoon, live. We can't get there yet because the meteor blocks the way, but we'll be able to get there a little bit later. But basically, these scholars tell us that the king went by himself up to the top floor, where the crystal is. They didn't go with him because apparently now there's a whole bunch of monsters who have invaded the shrine here. And this room that they're in is in a safe room. So right now, you can't get any encounters in this room. So that's good. And what also is good about this room is, see that pot there, down there? If you press A in front of it, it'll restore your hit points, your magic points, and any negative stats that you may have. We also want to talk with the guy on the left there, on the left of the pot, because he gives us 5 potions. Potions allow us to restore a little bit of hit points during battle, outside of battle. That's going to be very important for this run because we're not allowed to use a white mage. White mage is a job class that basically functions as a priest. They use healing magic. We don't have that, so for a while our healing is only going to be limited to potions and staying at inns. And there we got some new enemies there. So yeah, once we get to the second floor here, we can start running into enemies. And we can also get some treasure, like this tent here. Now, I saved the game before I came into the Wind Shrine. That's because, for the most part, you can only save the game on the outside, on the overwall. When you're inside a dungeon like this, you can't save your game. You can't just select, it's not like Final Fantasy Legend or Final Fantasy Legend 2 where you can save anywhere. You can only save on the outside or in special locations inside dungeons like this consecrated circle. So at the circle you can save your game. You can also use a tent or a cottage, which basically refills your life. Basically functions as an inn. And we'll go over inns when we get to the our first town later on in this episode. So we got some more defensive equipment there, leather helmet, and we got these goblins we just fought. These black goblins, and they dropped some leather shoes. Those are relics slots. The leather shoes, basically the most generic relic. They just basically give you a little bit more defense. There'll be other better relics later on. We have a secret passageway there that we can just cut through to cut off a lot of walking. And we get a broadsword. We want to give the broadsword to Faris. Right now, Faris is our fastest character, followed by Lena. And we're about to fight a boss, so we want to have our greatest damage dealers attacking first. So we give them, our fastest characters, the strongest weapons. So when we stand right in front of this boss, it's going to attack us. So we want to make sure we use the 4 of our potions to heal ourselves up to max hit points. And when we step in front of the boss, it pops out and attacks us. So this is kind of just a tutorial boss. It basically just has a physical attack and it has this breathwing attack. The breathwing attack takes off 1/4 of your maximum hit points. So if you take 4 breath attacks without healing, it's going to knock out any of your characters. So yeah, right now we've basically been reduced to half our hit points. So it's not too much of a problem because this guy goes down pretty easy. He only has 250 hit points, and we're taking off about 30 hit points per attack. So 8 hits should finish him down. A little over 8 hits. But we don't want to attack him when he folds his wings over himself, because if we attack him now, basically he will counterattack with one of those breath wings. So what I did there was I showed off the row command, which means that you can switch your characters to the back row where they'll take half damage, but they'll also deal less than half their damage. So, but if everything goes right, after he unfurls his wings, you should be able to finish him off there. He automatically drops a phoenix down, and that boss kind of shows you through the change in his sprite there that the battle is always going to be ongoing, even when nothing's happening. Monsters are going to be interacting and stuff like that. So Now, we have a secret treasure down here in the lower right corner, a staff. So yeah, monsters, they'll be doing their own little thing during battle, so they enter a different phase. So we just got a staff. It's a little stronger than a knife. We'll give Galliff it. Just now we could go right into that room to the crystal room, but I'm just gonna hang out here for just a little bit because there's 2 more monsters that we haven't encountered yet. We encountered the Black Goblin. We encountered the White Snake, and we have 2 more enemies here. The first one right there, the Manny Wizard. So this battle also shows us a different thing. We've been back attacked, which means normally we start on the right side of the screen and the enemy's on the left. When you get back attacked, the enemies get a free turn on you, and your characters start in the back row. So if it's going to be a long battle and you want to move them back, you're going to have to use the row command to move them in front to deal their full damage. Now, monster, we got lucky, dropped a rod. And here's the final enemy in this area, the Mold Wind. So this is our first enemy that kind of has an absorption. Right now, because it's flying in the ground, if you use an earth-based attack like Quake, it wouldn't hit it. And then if we use the wind attack, because it's flying, it'll absorb that. It'll actually heal. So resist means they take no damage from. Absorb means that they will actually gain hit points from taking from getting hit with an attack. So we walk into the crystal room and look at it. It's shattered. Yeah, we see those 6 little pieces of the crystal. That's going to be important. So, but before we get those little pieces of the crystal, we're going to get a little bit of a scene here where it's going to show us where the other 3 crystals reside. So we saw one there in like another castle, and that's the crystal of fire, and courage is the essence of flame. And each character kind of has an element associated with them. So Faris is like flame for courage, and here we have a crystal in like a tower, and that represents the water crystal, devotion, the essence of water, which is Lena's element. Now that doesn't really play in any major part of your character's main element in the game. It's not like Crystal Warriors where elements have a function in your battle. But Aleph got the Earth Crystal, which looks like it was laying in the desert. So hope. And they have a little mistranslation here. It's passion. That's I guess the essence of wind. So RASAR here, he's like a wandering traveler, like the wind. It blows wherever it goes. So. Now the crystals, they're basically blessing us with their essence. And in addition to the essences, the crystals will also give us something else. Well, oh look, it's King Tycoon here. What's he doing here? Father? Listen and listen well. We are apparently the chosen 4 warriors of light. So, yeah, we saw light warriors back in Final Fantasy 1. Marty, Milo, Wibbly, and Fibs, the 4 rats from the original rats from Marty Mouth House. And the king is basically telling us that we need to protect the crystals, the remaining 3 crystals. Because if all the crystals are destroyed, like the wind crystal here, then apparently some evil that is being sealed by the power of the crystal will return to the earth, and that'll be bad. We can't have that happen. So, as I said, in addition to blessing us with their essences, the crystals, in order to help us, prevent the return of this evil, they're also going to give us job classes, and this is where the 4-job Fiesta comes from. Each crystal grants different jobs. The wind crystal grants 6 jobs. So, and these jobs each, as I said here, store the power of ancient warriors. So, but unfortunately, we will only be able to use the power of one of these warriors, because for Job Fiesta, we are limited in the skills and jobs and abilities that we can use. For us right now, we're only allowed to use the monk job. The monk is, I'll go over all the other jobs, but I'll go over the monk first, because that's the one I'm going to be using. The monk is a bare-fisted fighter. They attack twice, one with each of their fists. We saw some of the people attacking with their fists earlier in the game, but they weren't dealing a lot of damage. Monks, though, they have a different multiplier when attacking with bare fists. So they can actually do comparable damage to characters with weapons, with their fists. They also come with an innate ability called Kick, which is a weak kick that hits every enemy on the screen. Now monks, because they're, they're not really, well, they're a warrior type class, but they're not like a heavy fighter type class. So they wear light armor, so they tend to be glass cannons. They hit hard with double attacks, but they can't use a lot of armor. Monks are limited to light armors, so here's all the other jobs. We have the blue mage, black mage, white mage, thief, and then over on the left we have the knight. So knights just wear heavy armor, attack with swords. Thieves use daggers, light armor. They're more of a support class. They can run, they can see hidden passages, they can steal from enemies. You'll notice that when I'm putting the the descriptions of enemies I have, like what you can be stealing, what can be stolen from them. White mages or priests, they basically are support class. They cast buffs, which make your character stronger, and cast healing magic, which heals your characters. Black mages, you can see that in the first job, Fiesta, they're like destructive elemental mages. They use, magic that is associated with the 4 different elements, destructive type magics. And then we have the blue mage, which learns enemy type skills. So they learn like special type of magics that maybe ain't covered by other mages, like the arrow spells, some elemental spells. So we're gonna head back to the pirate cave, check out what Boko is. I'm gonna come down here real quick just to find another enemy here, the killer bee. There's 3 enemies that we can attack here on the overworld, new enemies. So I'm showing off the kick command here. As you can see, it does less damage than a regular attack, but because it hits all the enemies, if you're fighting like a bunch of low weak enemies, kick might be good. So against bosses though, you probably just want to stick with your normal regular attack. So I'm just off-screen going back up here to the cave where we found Boko, and he's not here. What happened? Well, looks like he apparently went in after us, so I'm gonna... but before we go and see what's happening, here's another commercial about rabbit and small animal rescues and what they do. Aww, what a nice charity. And that kind of ties in with what we're going to see happen to Mr. Boko here. So off-screen, going through that cave, we went through it in our first episode. But now these pirates are all walking around, and we can actually get the treasure that we missed earlier in here. So we hit that button, and there's no pirate guarding that upper left door here. And that opened up this little passage we were going to walk into now. And now we can get these 3 pieces of treasure. And we can also free to walk around and talk with some of these pirates and get a little bit of exposition and find out what's happening here. And apparently they found Boko in the cave, and apparently he got hurt. So you know how I said earlier, it like kind of ties in RASAR with the rabbit and small animal rescue with Boko here? Yeah. Well, it turns out that there's a doctor here in the pirate cave, the pirate's doctor, and he found Boko, who was hurt. And now he's nursing Boko back to health. So it's kind of like what rabbit and small animal rescues do. They find, hurt, injured, neglected, unwanted, unloved animals, and they nurse them back to health and hopefully find them good homes where, they can be loved and appreciated. So that was really nice what this doctor's doing, and, it's nice what all the shelter workers at all animal shelters, not just rabbit and small animal rescues, but all different types of shelters do. So Boko here, he's gonna basically rest in here. He'll recover much later in the game, so we'll get him later in the game. But for now, he's just gonna heal up, and we're gonna talk with some more pirates, and they'll be nice and hold down the fort, keep it safe while Faris is out adventuring with us, because she's going to stick around and adventure with us because, hey, she got blessed by the crystals. So, well now, that's all we can really do here in the Pirates hideout. Not much to do here for the rest of the game. There's one more event in the Pirates Castle much later in the game. But, we've basically seen all we can in the Pirates Castle. So I was going to off-screen, returning back to the front of the cave. And now we're going to return back. We return back to the pirates' hideout. Now we're going to return back to the pirate ship. And we're going to return back to the Wind Shrine. Now the Wind Shrine can be a good place to grind for job levels. I'll talk about job levels in a little bit here, because I'm 1 point away, I did it on purpose, from getting my new job level in Monks. The Wind Crystal might be a good place to grind, because there's that healing pot. You can heal yourself up after so many battles. But I'm just grinding here just to show off these final few enemies. We have the Nutkin there, which is that little squirrel enemy. We already saw the killer bee there. And this stray cat's going to show an example of another thing that monks have. So I'm just not going to do anything right now, and I'm just going to let the stray cat attack me. Because the monk, one of their innate abilities is they have a chance to counterattack. So if an enemy hits the monk with a physical attack, the monk may counterattack. So it's basically getting a free attack. So that's another innate skill of the monk. Now, as we gain job levels here, we also gain other skills. So we just gained a skill called Focus. So right now we see Monk, underneath Monk it says level 1 and then 0:30. Before it said level 0 and then 0:15. After each battle you get a certain amount of ability points. When the ability points matches the number on the right, you gain a level in your job. And each level of your job that you get will unlock a new ability. So when we hit level 1 in Monk, we got another ability called Focus. Focus, basically what it does is it allows us to skip one of our turns, and then skipping that turn, the next time we attack, our attack will be doubled. Now, you might think, well, what's the point of that? You know, you're still doing the same amount of damage if you attack twice at like one time, or once at 2 times the power. Well, there's certain enemies that will have counterattacks, and you may not want to hit them a lot of times, because each time they hit, you know, you're subject to that counterattack. Or for instance, if you fight like a boss like the Wing Raptor, when it might be in a phase where you're not allowed to attack, you can spend turns, instead of defending, you could spend turns building up your power, so the next time that you attack, you'll do double damage. So, and this guy's going to give us a little bit of some exposition here. He's telling us that over in the canal, there was a big beast that used to eat people, and it was sealed away by the crystal, but uh-oh, the crystal just broke. So does that mean that that beast is going to be released? Well, we'll find out a little bit later, but for now, we're just going to spend time, the rest of this video, exploring this town, our first town tour. And one of the things that because it's our first town, they're also going to give us this new little adventurers, the Greenhorn Club. And here, basically, they tell us a lot of stuff, but I'll be going over basically everything that these people tell us as we experience in the game. So, this guy basically tells us that, you know, you want to put magic users in the back row, because they can use magic, and magic isn't affected by rows. But mages tend to have, you know, weak defense, so they'll take less damage in the back row. The guy earlier told us that enemies can hit us with status effects, like aging, which makes our stats gradually decrease. This guy tells us if we don't like the character, we can alter who's in the front, and whoever's out in the front, that's the sprite we see. So we'll just keep RASAR in the front. So, and then, you know, some of the other guys, we'll see what they talk about. But the main reason we wanted to come in here is because there are 6 treasures that we can get here. And obviously we're going for 100% treasure completion. So, this also explains, you know, passages. Now, if we had a thief, we'd automatically be able to see, like, secret passages that are kind of showed off in gray. But we can't see it here, but I'll be pointing out all the secret passages in the game. So, if you're following along, you'll catch them all. So, but yeah, we kind of look like there's a little hole there by that guy. Yeah, we walk through that passage, and we can get these 2 chests. Now, chests, this guy tells us, aren't the only places where goods can be found. Sometimes you can find them in pots, barrels, and crates. They give an example of all of them in this little thing. So, there we got 5 treasures. And then we have one more treasure chest over there, so we're going to go open that up. But this place is going to teach you something else about treasure chests. So, sometimes treasure chests can be bad. Bad in the sense that before you get the treasure in the chest, you'll have to fight a monster. It's like you open the chest and there's a monster hiding in the chest. So this time they just have an easy, weak little goblin in the chest. As you can see, we did a counterattack there with RASAR, so no problem. But yeah, sometimes before you get the treasure, a monster will jump out and you'll have to defeat that monster before you can get the treasure. So this one just gave us some of those leather shoes. We'll take them just to give Lena some more defense. So now we got 3 pairs of leather shoes. Everybody but Faris has them. Once we're finished with getting all the 6 treasures in here, we just talk to the lady, she opens up the desk, and we're free to leave and finish exploring the town. So we learned that there's hidden treasures somewhere, not just in chests. And so we're going to be looking for some hidden treasures in this town. So now these people are basically telling us that, oh man, there's pirates in the pub, we saw one in there, and that the wind is dying down. They also tell us about some other towns. Here's weapon shops. Not really important with monks, because monks can't use any weapons. If you can't use a weapon, your character will be stuck in the back row there. I'm just going to switch to another job class here to show you what happens if you're in a class that can use a weapon. So let's just change RASAR real quickly to a knight. We won't give him any abilities or anything like that, because he's just going to be there for a few seconds. So now if you can use a weapon, see your character is moved up to the front. So RASAR as a knight can use that broadsword. So it lets you know like what weapons you can use, and the same thing with the armor. We're going to go to the armor store next, but basically shows you what armor, what weapons you can use, depending on what class you're in. So you're not wasting money buying stuff like, oh, I'm going to buy this new shield, but turns out that my class that I'm in, I can't use that shield. So that's nice what they do there. But as you can see, none of the monks can use any of that, any of the shields. And also when you select something to buy, it'll tell you how many of those items you already have. So if you're like, oh, do I want to buy some leather armor? Oh, I already got 4 leather armors. I don't need to buy anymore. So now we learned that sometimes treasure can be hidden in pots and crates. And what do you know? We got some treasures in that crate right there. So yep. The beast in the canal only seems to target women. That'll be important a little bit later, so. But, and we got a potion in that little barrel there. Sometimes we can walk around trees. You can also find items sometimes in bushes. And usually you can tell if there's like a bush or something like that that's kind of out of the way and kind of stand on its own. That's your little clue that, you know, maybe there's something in there, so. And hey, it looks like, Lena knows who this person is in this house. They must be important because they have a big house. What a big house they got there. But we're going to go on this other side here, and there's a crate. And we're going to get some more stuff from that crate. Actually, there's our 3rd pair of leather shoes. So, yeah, Now, before we head into that house, that's where we have to go to finish up the plot. We just have a few more buildings to explore here. So, this is the magic shop. Once again, not important for us, but magics that have like that gray next to them, they're black magics. White magics obviously have a little white circle next to them. And then there's other magics. There's time. And then there's summon magics. But we'll go into summon magics later. That's actually one of the classes that we are allowed to use in this playthrough, in the job Fiesta. So, we'll go over summon magic when that becomes available. But hey, we got another barrel up there sitting all by itself. Yep. You know there's going to be some treasure in it. Apparently there's also another meteor that hit to the west. So, now we can stay at this inn here. That heals our hit points up, but we're going to get a free rest here anyway, so. Now, we used a whole bunch of potions in the Wind Shrine, and we don't have a white mage to heal us, so we're going to have to buy a lot of potions. So we're going to spend a lot of money on potions, but that's okay because as monks, we can't use any weapons. So all these weapons that we've been accumulating, the broadswords that we started with, the dagger, the knife, we can just sell them all, use them for money for potions. So. Inns will also always usually have the item store in them. So item stores are where you can buy like cumulative items, like cures, and then there's different status effects, and certain items will heal different status effects. So like, you know, a golden eel cures petrification. Antidote cures poison. But we don't have any status ailments offered right now, so we don't have to worry about buying status curing ailments. The pirate boss Faris is upstairs. Hey, that lady's telling us to take a seat. And there's a guy hiding over here checking out the girls dancing. Now we want to, it's not so important for us right here for this playthrough, but we see that piano there. We want to do this thing with the dancers here, have them dance for us, because it'll get them off of the stage, and that'll allow us to play the piano. Now, there's a certain job class called the Bard later on, and they basically are, musicians, and they kind of use music to attack or buff allies or debuff the enemies or make the enemies weaker. And if you're going to get all the Bard songs, you're going to have to learn how to play the piano. So you're going to have to play all the pianos in the game. So it's important if we're a Bard that we play that piano. So, and let's go visit Faris, but she looks like she's sleeping there, so we'll let her sleep until the next episode, minions. Take care, have a good one, and remember, support your local rescue or other nice local charities. So remember, I'm doing this for Rabbit and Small Animals Rescues. So once again, if you're entertained by this or enjoying it, feel free to give a donation to Rabbit and Small Animals Rescues. Link is in the video description. Thanks, take care, bye!